What if I told you that everything you own is built on a house of cards you can't even see? Tomorrow morning, if the power dies and stays dead, your fridge, your digital locks, and even the life-saving machines of your family won't last 4 hours. We are running a 21st century civilization on a 19th century spine. And right now, deep inside the wire, the ghost is starting to scream. We are exactly 1/10 of a second away from the end of the world as you know it. Before the final switch is flipped, you need to see the truth.
The invisible hunger, the ghost in the wires.
We hear the faint, rhythmic ticking of a clock. Slowly, a single, old-fashioned, incandescent light bulb begins to glow, its filament orange and vibrating. We like to believe we are the masters of our environment. We have built cathedrals of glass and steel. We have conquered the night with 1 billion tiny suns. We carry the sum of all human knowledge in our pockets, powered by invisible currents. But our civilization is built on a foundation so fragile, it is almost poetic. Aerial drone shot of a massive interstate highway at night, lights flowing like blood through veins. Every comfort you take for granted. The warmth of your home in winter, the cool air in summer, the water that flows when you turn a knob, depends on a continuous, perfect heartbeat, a pulse of 60 cycles per second. It is the most complex machine ever built by man. The North American power grid. Fast cuts of rusted transformers, sagging wires, and ancient porcelain insulators. But the machine is tired. It was built for a world that no longer exists. A world before cloud computing, electric vehicles, and hyperconsumption. Today, the grid is a ghost haunting its own wires. And in the silence of the early morning, if you listen closely enough, you can hear it starting to fail. Rural Texas, 4:45 a.m. The sky is a deep indigo. A small, modest ranch house stands alone. Inside, a desk is cluttered with hand-drawn charts and vintage radio equipment. Houston, Texas. Most people here are still dreaming, but Samuel Miller has been awake for 2 hours. Sam is 65 years old. He spent 40 of those years as a senior load dispatcher. He was the man who kept the lights on when the hurricanes hit and the heat waves scorched the plains. He is a man who speaks the language of electricity. Sam leans forward, his face illuminated by the green glow of an oscilloscope. He adjusts a dial on a shortwave radio. Static fills the room, then a low, wavering hum.
You're hunting again. Why are you hunting?
To you, that sound is just static. To Sam, it's a warning. The frequency of the grid is supposed to be a rock-solid 60 hertz. If it drops to 59.9, things get nervous. If it hits 59.5, the machines start to die. For 3 days, Sam has watched the frequency. Hunt, swinging back and forth like a nervous animal sensing a predator. Sam takes a sip of black coffee and looks at a framed photo of a young woman on his desk. He picks up a pen and marks a red X on a chart titled ERCOT Capacity Margin. Sam knows the math. He knows that 70% of the transmission lines and power transformers in this country are over 25 years old. Some are over 50. We are running a 21st century economy on a 19th century spine. He's tried to tell them. He's written letters to the utility board. He's called his old colleagues. They tell him he's just a retired man with too much time on his hands. They tell him the system is smart now.
Smart? They put a digital face on a mechanical corpse. You can't software your way out of a melted copper core. Physics doesn't care about your quarterly earnings report.
Transition to a high-speed montage of Phoenix, Arizona. Shimmering heat waves rise from the asphalt. The camera glides up a glass skyscraper to a luxury penthouse. 500 miles to the west, the sun is already a weapon. Phoenix is a city that shouldn't exist. It is a monument to man's arrogance over the desert, held together by a single umbilical cord of electricity. Emily Miller, 42, is standing in a walk-in closet. She looks sharp, polished, the embodiment of corporate success. A man in a suit, Jordan, stands by the door with a tablet.
The morning briefing is ready, Miss Miller. The Tesla is pre-cooled to 68 degrees. Your flight to San Francisco is confirmed. And I've diverted the laundry service to the office because of your late meeting.
Thank you, Jordan. Did you check the smart home logs? The kitchen felt a bit warm last night.
A minor voltage dip from the city. The building's backup filtered it out instantly. Nothing to worry about.
Emily Miller is a daughter of the new age. She doesn't understand frequency or voltage. She understands reliability. To her, electricity is like air. It is simply there. She has a personal assistant to manage her world, a smart home to manage her comfort, and a career that demands 110% of her attention. Emily's phone buzzes. It's Sam. She rolls her eyes slightly, but answers.
Hi, Dad. I'm actually just heading out the door.
Emily, listen to me. I'm looking at the Southwest Power Pool data. The reserve margins are thinner than a sheet of paper. The heat in Phoenix is going to push the grid over the edge today. I need you to go to the store, buy water, buy a manual pump, get some cash out of the ATM.
Dad, we've had this conversation. I have a personal assistant. I have a building manager. If there's a problem, they handle it. It's 115 degrees outside. Of course, the grid is working hard. That's what it's built for.
It wasn't built for this, Em. It was built for a world where people turned off the lights when they left the room. You're living in a glass box. If the air stops, that box becomes an oven in 30 minutes.
I have to go, Dad. I'll call you when I land in SF. Love you.
She ends the call. The elevator doors slide shut. Silence. A sleek boardroom in Washington, D.C. Large windows overlook the Capitol. Marcus Thornton, 50, CEO of Apex Energy, sits at the head of a mahogany table, while Sam Miller watches the wires and Emily Miller watches her schedule. Marcus Thornton watches the bottom line. Marcus is not a villain in a storybook. He is a man of logic, but his logic is dictated by shareholders, not surge protectors.
The reliability report for the 2025 summer season is in, yes, the North American Electric Reliability. Corporation ENERC has flagged the Western interconnection as high risk, but look at the costs of a total substation overhaul. If we commit to that, now we lose the infrastructure subsidy for next year's solar project.
To Marcus, the grid is a series of calculated risks. If a transformer blows in a small town in New Mexico, it's a local headline. If he spends $5 billion on upgrades that might not be needed for another 2 years, it's his job on the line.
We'll manage the load through demand response. We'll send out some texts, ask people to turn up their thermostats to 78, and we'll ride out the peak. The grid is resilient. It survived a century. It'll survive this afternoon.
Close-up of Marcus's eyes. He is a man who has never spent a night in the dark, without a generator humming in the background. A montage of the 10 states at risk. We see a mother in Nevada, a farmer in Wyoming, a nurse in a California hospital. All of them going about their day, unaware of the invisible pressure building in the wires above their heads. The tragedy of a collapse is that it gives no warning to those who aren't listening. In the rural substations of the Mojave, the oil inside the massive transformers is beginning to boil. The copper coils are expanding, stretching under the weight of 1 million air conditioners. Sam's garage. He is loading a heavy metal toolbox into the back of a 1978 Ford F-150. The engine rumbles a deep mechanical growl. Sam Miller isn't a prophet. He's just a man who knows that when you push a heart too hard, it eventually stops. He looks at his house one last time. He knows he's going to Phoenix. Not because he wants to be right, but because he knows his daughter is living in a fortress made of sand. Sam pulls out of the driveway. As his truck fades into the distance, we see a squirrel climb onto a power line near his house. It's a mundane sight, but then a faint pop and a spark. Everything is connected. The light in your room, the water in your glass, the life of your child. It is all held together by a ghost. And today, the ghost is leaving. The camera pans up from Sam's house to the vast network of power lines stretching across the horizon. The low hum of the grid grows louder, more distorted, until it suddenly cuts to a jarring, absolute silence.
Next chapter, the boiling point. The boiling point, when the math fails.
A thermal satellite view of the North American continent. A massive, angry bruise of deep purple and red sits stagnantly over the southwest. The numbers on the screen climb 110F, 115F, 121F. In meteorology, they call it a heat dome. It is a high-pressure system that acts like a lid on a pot, trapping the sun's radiation and compressing it. But in the world of infrastructure, it is called a systemic stressor. For 7 days, the desert has not cooled down at night. The concrete has become a thermal battery, radiating heat long after the sunset. A close-up of a street thermometer in Phoenix. The liquid mercury looks like it's straining against the glass. People are seen walking in slow motion, their breath visible in the distorted, shimmering air. When the temperature stays above 100 degrees for 24 hours, the grid loses its ability to heal. Transformers, the massive lungs of the electrical system, need the cool of the night to shed the heat generated by their copper coils. Without that rest, they begin to cook from the inside out. Today is the 8th day. The math is about to fail. Inside the Apex Energy Regional Control Center, a wall of monitors 3 stories high displays a tangled web of green lines. The hum of cooling fans for the servers is deafening. This is the brain of the machine. Here, dispatchers manage the duck curve. During the day, solar panels across the Mojave flood the system with cheap, clean energy. But as the sun begins to dip behind the horizon, that energy vanishes in minutes. A young dispatcher, Chris, stares at a line graph where the supply line is plummeting, while the demand line, the load, is spiking as people return home and blast their AC.
Sir, we're seeing a 4,000 megawatt shortfall in the next 20 minutes. The wind in West Texas is at a standstill. There's no breeze to turn the blades. We need to buy power from the Pacific Intertie.
We can't. California is in a stage 3 emergency. They've locked their gates. We're on our own. Call the peaker plants. Tell them to give us everything they've got.
Peaker plants. Expensive, inefficient gas turbines kept in reserve for moments like this. They are the adrenaline shots of the grid, but even adrenaline has its limits. Across the state, 50-year-old gas turbines are being pushed to 110% capacity. Their bearings are screaming. Their cooling systems are failing. Split screen. On one side, a turbine spinning at terrifying speeds. On the other, Marcus Thornton in his DC office, looking at a stock ticker that is beginning to dip.
Do not trigger the rolling blackouts yet. If we cut power to the Phoenix Business District, now we trigger a force majeure clause in our contracts. Hold the line. The sun will be down in an hour.
Emily's penthouse. The sun is a blinding orange disk. The windows are hot to the touch. Emily is finishing a conference call. Emily Miller lives in a world of smart efficiency. Her personal assistant, Jordan, has programmed the apartment to stay at a crisp 68 degrees. But even with the blinds drawn, the hum of the AC has changed. It's no longer a smooth purr. It's a strained, rhythmic thumping.
Miss Miller, the building manager, just sent an urgent blast. They are asking all residents to turn off non-essential appliances. Apparently, the regional voltage is sagging.
Jordan, I'm in the middle of the Q3 projections. Just ignore it. That's why we pay $5,000 a month in HOA fees for their redundant systems. Just make sure Leo's room is cool. He's taking a nap.
Emily walks to her son's room. Leo, 7, is sleeping fitfully. A nebulizer machine sitting on his nightstand, its little green light glowing faithfully. She kisses his forehead. She doesn't notice that the ceiling fan is spinning slightly slower than usual. Emily believes in the contract. She believes that because she pays, the light must stay on. She doesn't understand that electricity doesn't care about HOA fees or service level agreements. It only cares about the path of least resistance. And right now, the path of least resistance is becoming a path of fire. A lonely stretch of desert near the Arizona-New Mexico border. A massive high-voltage transmission tower stands like a steel giant. Due to the extreme heat, the aluminum core wires have expanded and are sagging lower than they ever have. Every system has a breaking point. For the Western interconnection, it isn't a massive explosion or a cyber attack. It is a single, dry mesquite tree, slow motion. The sagging wire, carrying 500,000 volts, inches closer to the top branch of the parched tree. The air begins to ionize, a low crackling sound, like frying bacon. It's called a flashover. The electricity doesn't need to touch the tree, it jumps the gap. A blinding blue-white arc of light illuminates the desert. The tree vaporizes instantly. The circuit breakers at the substation 10 miles away sense the fault and trip open. But the surge has already moved. The control room, the green lines on the wall suddenly turn white, then vanish.
We just lost the 500 kV line. The load is shifting to the secondary lines. They're overloading. 1 or 10%. 120%. They're tripping.
It is a domino effect at the speed of light. To protect themselves from melting, the substations begin to shed load. They are cutting off limbs to save the body, but the body is already dying. Back in Phoenix, Emily is in her kitchen, pouring a glass of water from the smart dispenser. The sound of the city, the distant hum of traffic, the buzz of the refrigerator, the whir of the AC. All of it stops completely. The only sound is the water splashing into Emily's glass, then stopping as the electric pump dies. It doesn't happen with a bang, it happens with a sigh. The lights don't just go out, they brown out. First a sickening, dim yellow glow, before the darkness swallows them. Emily stands in the sudden hot silence. The Luna smart AI secretary on her counter blinks once, twice. Then the blue ring fades to black.
Jordan, what happened?
She looks out the floor-to-ceiling windows. The city of Phoenix, which was a glittering sea of neon moments ago, is now a gray, dusty graveyard of glass. The traffic lights are dark. The elevators are frozen. The silence is absolute. Sam's truck, 100 miles away on the I-10. He sees the horizon go dark in his rearview mirror.
God help us. It started.
The boiling point has been reached. The math has failed. And for the first time in a generation, 15 million people are about to find out exactly what happens when the 21st century runs out of juice.
Next chapter, Zero State. Zero State, the anatomy of darkness.
The screen is dark. We hear the sound of heavy, rapid breathing. A match is struck, the tiny flame illuminating Emily's panicked face. The camera pulls back to show her standing in her ultra-modern kitchen, now a cavern of shadows. The first hour of a total blackout is a psychological grace period. We call it the novelty phase. People look out their windows. They check their neighbors' lights. They make jokes about digital detox. But beneath the surface, the gears of civilization have already stopped turning. A montage of the immediate aftermath. Thousands of people trapped in subway tunnels under the scorching heat. Elevators frozen between floors. Electric gates at luxury communities locked shut, trapping residents inside. In a world designed for constant flow, stasis is a death sentence. Our cities are not built to be lived in. They are built to be serviced. Without the ghost in the wires, a 40-story luxury high-rise is no longer a status symbol. It is a vertical desert. It is a chimney that traps heat and exhales despair. Emily's penthouse. The temperature is already rising. The air feels thick, stagnant. Emily is frantically tapping her smartphone, but the screen shows no service.
Jordan, are you there?
She realizes her personal assistant, Jordan, isn't there. He was in the lobby when the power cut. She is alone with her son. She walks to Leo's room. The green light on his nebulizer is dead. The silence in the room is terrifying. This is the zero state. The moment you realize your entire life was rented from a utility company. Emily looks at her smart home. The voice-controlled blinds are stuck halfway. The induction stove is a useless slab of glass, and the electronic door locks are pulsing a faint, dying red.
It's okay, baby. It's just a big fuse blown. Grandpa is coming. He said he would...
But Sam is still 100 miles away, and the temperature inside the glass-walled apartment is climbing toward 95 degrees. In Phoenix, when the air conditioning fails, the clock starts ticking. For a child with respiratory issues, that clock moves twice as fast. Emily tries to call 911. Nothing. The cell towers, stripped of their cooling systems and overwhelmed by millions of simultaneous pings, have collapsed. Interstate 10, outside Phoenix. The highway is a graveyard of modern technology. Hundreds of electric vehicles have coasted to a stop, their batteries drained, or their systems locked in a safety shutdown. People are wandering the asphalt like ghosts. While the modern world freezes in place, the past keeps moving. Samuel Miller's 1978 Ford F-150 doesn't have a microchip. It doesn't have an internet connection. It has a carburetor, a mechanical fuel pump, and a driver who knows that. In a crisis, analog is the only language that matters. Sam is driving on the shoulder of the highway, bypassing the gridlock. He wears a damp cloth around his neck. His face is set in a mask of grim determination.
Look at him. 3 hours of darkness and a social contract is already in the trash. We didn't build a society, we built a shopping mall.
Sam stops his truck when he sees an elderly couple sitting by a dead Tesla. The husband fanning his wife with a road map. He doesn't have much, but he reaches into his cooler, the old-fashioned kind, filled with melting ice, and hands them 2 bottles of water.
Get off the blacktop. Find shade under the overpass. The heat from the road will kill you before the thirst does. Move now.
He isn't being a hero. He is being an engineer. He is triaging a broken world. He knows that by tomorrow, the gas in the underground tanks at these stations will be unreachable because the pumps need electricity. He knows that the just-in-time delivery system for grocery stores has already snapped. Phoenix has 3 days of food. It has 12 hours of water pressure, a private, high-security estate in Virginia. Marcus Thornton is in a room filled with monitors, powered by a massive, humming diesel generator. He is watching the satellite feed of the western United States. It looks like a map of the moon.
I don't care about the PR. I want to know why the black start units aren't firing. If we don't get the frequency stabilized in the next 6 hours, the physical damage to the turbines will be permanent. We're looking at months of darkness, not days.
Marcus Thornton is finally seeing the true cost of efficiency. He saved the company billions by not building redundancy, by pushing the equipment to its limit. Now, that saved money is evaporating at a rate of $100 million an hour. But more than the money, Marcus is feeling a new sensation: irrelevance. Marcus looks out his window at the dark woods surrounding his estate. He has lights. He has a fridge full of food, but he is a king of a dead empire. He realizes that if his generator fails, he is no different from the people trapped in the elevators in Phoenix. This is the final truth of the zero state. In the dark, there are no CEOs. There are no personal assistants. There is only the heat, the thirst, and the distance between you and the people you love. Back in Emily's apartment, the sun has finally set, but the heat remains, trapped in the walls. Emily is sitting on the floor, holding Leo. She is using a manual hand fan she found in a decorative basket. Every breath Leo takes is a wet, rattling sound.
Please, Dad. Please hurry.
The camera pulls back from the dark penthouse, showing the entire city of Phoenix. Not a single light, just the silhouettes of skyscrapers against a star-filled sky that hasn't been seen this clearly in a century. It is beautiful, and it is terrifying. The adventure is over. The novelty is gone. Now, the dark is truly beginning.
Next chapter. The Copper Cord. The Copper Cord survival is a team sport.
The screen flickering with the dim, orange glow of a dying flashlight. The camera pans across a suburban street in Phoenix. It's 2 a.m., but the heat is still a physical presence, radiating from the stucco walls of the houses. There are no crickets, no hum of traffic, only the sound of distant, rhythmic banging someone trying to open a locked vending machine. By the third night, the veneer of civilization doesn't just crack, it peels away. The human body is a resilient machine, but it is calibrated for a world of predictable cycles. When you take away sleep, when you take away hydration, and when you take away the cooling that allows the heart to rest, the brain begins to revert to its most primal state. A montage of the hidden heroes. A group of neighbors in a cul-de-sac sharing a single bag of melting ice. An elderly man showing a teenager how to use a point. Hand-cranked well in a community garden. We call this the copper cord. It is the realization that in the absence of a high-voltage grid, the only thing that transmits power is human connection. But for every act of kindness, there is a shadow of desperation. In the dark, your neighbor is either your greatest ally or your biggest threat. It all depends on how much water is left in the tank. Outside Emily's high-rise, the lobby is a dark cavern. Sam's 1978 Ford F-150 idles at the curb, its headlights cutting through the thick, dusty air. Sam is hauling a heavy marine battery and a tangle of thick copper cables out of the truck bed. Sam enters the stairwell. He is 65, and he is carrying 50 pounds of lead and acid up 40 flights of stairs. We hear his ragged breathing, the clank of the battery against the concrete steps. He doesn't stop. Sam Miller isn't thinking about the national grid anymore. He isn't thinking about Marcus Thornton or the failed policies of the Energy Board. He is thinking about a child's lung. He is moving on pure adrenaline and the specialized knowledge of a generation that knew how to fix things with their hands. Inside the penthouse, Emily is huddled in the corner of Leo's room. Leo's breathing is shallow, a terrifying whistling sound in the dark. Suddenly, the heavy metal door of the apartment groans open. A beam of a powerful industrial flashlight sweeps the room.
Emily, get the nebulizer ready. Don't ask questions, just move.
Sam drops the battery on the floor. His hands, though shaking from exhaustion, are precise. He strips the ends of the nebulizer's power cord with a pocket knife. He connects the wires to a small power inverter, then clamps the leads to the marine battery. In that moment, the most important machine in America isn't a nuclear reactor or a massive wind farm. It is a 12-volt lead-acid battery and 2 feet of copper wire. It is a father's refusal to let the darkness win.
You came? Dad, you actually came?
I told you, Em, it's just physics. You just have to know where to find the juice.
The following morning, the sun is rising, a brutal, white-hot disk. Sam is on the balcony of the penthouse, looking down at the street. He sees Jordan, Emily's personal assistant, staggering toward the building, carrying 2 heavy jugs of water. The smart world has failed, but the human world is reorganizing. Jordan didn't run away. He spent the night at a construction site 3 miles away, hand-pumping water from a temporary tank. He didn't do it because it was in his job description. He did it because he knew Emily and Leo were at the top of that tower. Sam begins to mobilize. He uses the balcony's glass railing to reflect sunlight away from the windows, a trick he learned in the 70s. He shows Jordan how to use a car's alternator to charge small devices.
Listen up. We're not waiting for the city to fix this. They can't. The transformers are fried from Vegas to El Paso. We are our own utility company now. If you have a car with gas, that's your generator. If you have a solar path light, that's your lantern. We pool everything. Nobody eats unless everyone eats.
This is the birth of the microgrid. It's not an elegant system. It's messy, held together by duct tape and desperation. But it works. For the first time, Emily isn't looking at her phone for answers. She's looking at the person standing next to her. She's learning that resilience isn't something you buy. It's something you build. Marcus Thornton's estate, the diesel generator that has been humming for 3 days, suddenly coughs, splutters, and dies. Marcus stands in his high-tech kitchen as the lights flicker and vanish. The silence is absolute. Even the kings of the old world cannot escape the collapse. Marcus has run out of fuel. His redundancy was only as deep as his gas tank. He stands in the dark, surrounded by millions of dollars of useless technology. He tries to call his security team, but the private satellite link has finally timed out. Marcus walks outside. For the first time in years, he sees the sky. Without the light pollution of the eastern seaboard, the Milky Way is a brilliant, terrifying river of fire above him.
What have we done?
He realizes that the grid wasn't just a business. It was a promise that he broke in the name of efficiency. He looks at his hands. They are soft. They have never stripped the wire. They have never carried a battery up 40 flights of stairs. He is the most powerful man in the energy sector, and he cannot even light a candle. Back in Phoenix, Sam, Emily, and the neighbors are sitting on the stairs in the dark, passing around a single jar of peaches. They are exhausted, dirty, and hot, but they are talking. They are laughing. The ghost in the wires is gone, but in its place, something older and stronger has returned. The copper cord is holding.
Next chapter, The New Dawn. The New Dawn, the lesson of the shadow.
The screen remains dark, but we hear a faint, high-pitched mechanical whine, the sound of a massive turbine slowly spooling up miles away. Then, a single street lamp on a deserted Phoenix street flickers. It's a sickly orange at first, struggling, buzzing like a dying insect, before suddenly snapping into a steady, bright white. Restoration is not a celebratory event. It is a slow, painful awakening. On the 7th day, the black start units, the massive combustion turbines used to jumpstart the heart of the nation, finally stabilized. One by one, the substations began to handshake with the regional load. The ghost was being invited back into the wires. Montage of various homes. A refrigerator suddenly hums to life. A digital clock flashes 12. A television screen glows with static. People don't cheer. They simply stand still, squinting at the sudden aggressive light. But the world the light revealed was not the same one it had left behind. In the silence of the long dark, we had seen the cracks in our foundation. We had felt the cold breath of a civilization without a spine. The question was no longer, when will the power come back? But what will we do now that we know how easily it goes away? A congressional hearing room in Washington, D.C. 6 months later, the room is brightly lit. Perhaps too brightly. Marcus Thornton sits at a witness table, surrounded by cameras and microphones. He looks older. The sharp corporate edge has been replaced by a haunted stillness. The aftermath was a season of reckoning. The 2025 blackout had cost the North American economy over $1 trillion. But the human cost, the lives lost in overheated apartments, the chaos in the dark could not be tallied on a spreadsheet.
Mr. Thornton, your company's internal memos suggested a 90% probability of grid failure during a sustained heat dome. You chose to prioritize dividend payouts over the replacement of the Palo Verde transformers. Why?
Because we built a system that rewarded efficiency over resilience. I played by the rules of the world we lived in. I forgot that the laws of physics do not care about the rules of the stock market. We treated electricity like a commodity. We should have treated it like a covenant.
The fallout led to the Grid Resilience Act, a massive wartime effort mobilization to decentralize the power structure. But Marcus didn't stay to lead it. He resigned. He spent his severance package building microgrid cooperatives in rural Appalachia. He finally learned that the most stable system isn't the one that is most efficient, but the one that is most connected to the people it serves. A sun-drenched suburban neighborhood in Houston. It looks modern, but different. Every roof is covered in high-efficiency solar tiles. In every garage, there is a visible wall-mounted battery system. The power lines are still there, but they look reinforced, armored. Emily Miller didn't go back to her glass penthouse. She couldn't. The memory of that vertical oven, the sound of her son's struggling breath, had rewired her soul. She moved closer to Sam. She became an advocate for energy sovereignty. Emily is in her new home, working on a laptop. Jordan is there too. No longer just a personal assistant, but a project manager for the neighborhood solar co-op.
Is the neighborhood battery at 90%? We've got a storm cell coming in from the Gulf.
Confirmed. If the main line goes down, we can island the whole block in less than a millisecond. Leo won't even see the lights flicker.
Emily still uses technology. She still loves the convenience of the digital age, but she is no longer a passenger on a ship she doesn't understand. She has learned the language of her father. She knows that smart doesn't mean connected to the internet. It means prepared for the worst. Sam's porch at sunset. He is sitting in a rocking chair with Leo. They are looking at a small, hand-built, solar-powered radio Sam made for his grandson. The orange light of the Texas sun bathes everything in a warm, golden hue. Samuel Miller is 66 now. He is a man who saw the end of an era. And the messy, flickering birth of a new one. He knows that the grid will never be perfect. He knows that nature will always find a way to test the things we build.
Grandpa, will the lights ever go out again?
Maybe, Leo. The wind blows, the sun sets, and machines break. That's just the way the world is. But the next time the dark comes, we won't be afraid because we know how to find each other now. We know that as long as we have the copper cord, the one that connects me to you and us to our neighbors. The light never truly goes away.
Sam puts his arm around Leo. The camera pulls back, rising higher and higher. We see the Houston skyline, then the entire Texas coast, then the North American continent from space. We are a nation of 350 million souls, living on a fragile web of light. We have been warned, we have been tested, and we have learned that the most powerful energy on Earth doesn't come from a turbine or a coal fire. It comes from the person standing next to you in the dark. Check your fuses, talk to your neighbors, and never, ever take the light for granted.
The final switch, dedicated to the engineers who keep the lights on.